Yo, what's up, guys? Haven't done a video in a while. First video back is gonna be basically explaining to you guys how I passed two accounts in all of December. I was trading more evals. Um, I had two funded XFAs. I ended up blowing them, mainly for greed and just some stupid things that I did. You guys can see Tradevate right there on the left. We are trading a 50K standard account that we just passed today. I activated one. The other one is not yet activated. I still have to activate it. Um, but anyways, we'll go into this. I'll show you guys the certificates right after. I'm not gonna say how I made this much today because it's obviously on eval. It's not a real currency until you get that money in your bank. So for today, right, we'll just go over exactly which trades we took. We took two, one loss, one win. First trade was a loss, and you guys can see right here, brand new 50K. It is the standard XFA. We did end up paying for it. We did end up activating it. The other one I have not activated yet. So, okay, first trade on the day was kind of stupid, I'm going to be honest. It could have been so avoidable, but we'll just explain what we did wrong here. So, let's just say today was kind of a lack of information on my part. I really didn't notice that we had a SMT at the lows, 15 minute and 5 minute. We had an SMT at the lows from ES and NQ. If I show you guys right here, it's right here. Yeah, because that's where I took my loss. So yeah, as you guys can see, like, look, we have an SMT from this low to this low, right? So we ended up sweeping all of this out. Low SMT from there, SMT ski from there to there, right? Hold on, market structure, SMT right there. So as you guys can see, little SMT, right, marked out, whatever. So the idea behind this was, this is before I noticed all this stuff, by the way. I didn't notice that when I was trading, and that's why I say it was a lack of information today. So if you go into the 5 minute, we did have it looked like kind of a continuation model that could be happening. I wanted to see, okay, maybe if we retest right over here off this 5 minute, on the FVG, the fair value gap, we could potentially look to go towards this liquidity down here. So that was my idea. Obviously you're gonna be saying, oh, I got in early before that. How does that make any sense? My idea before this was, okay, we might come back up and retest it. Now I do trade IFVGs as my entries. So I saw this on the 5 minute and we inversed that on the 5. That's where I ended up getting in. Now that's where I say it was a very stupid idea because, okay, inverse that, whatever. We're already low into the discount. There's no reason to be doing that. Really, you're just selling yourself, right? So that's exactly what happened. I wasn't thinking it through. Ended up taking that loss. Very avoidable, right? So anyways, then afterwards, I ended up taking a long, right? I'll show you guys exactly where I got in and where I wanted to get in. So my entry that I wanted to get in on was this IFVG right here. It would have been perfect because literally inversed it right before we pumped up, right? And my entry ended up being up here, okay? Because the candle just pumped way too quick. Stop was 22 points roughly, right about at the low. I hovered it right there. And my TP was about 24 points. Because that's all I needed. I needed like $200 to pass the account. So basically what happened was I ended up taking this, okay? Ended up getting my $200, so 400 on the day, whatever. And basically the idea for this was we sweep out these equal lows right here, and this is something that formed while I was in the trade for the short. And afterwards I noticed that, okay, we have an SMT at the lows. There's a 15-minute fair value gap on ES as well that's holding. We're most likely not going to break through this. Let me swap my bias. I ended up changing my bias to bullish, and it was a fucking great idea. We ended up sweeping out this equal low on the 1 minute. I believe it was I want to say it was a 2, yeah, it was a 2 minute. So I think it went all the way up to 4 minute as well. Yeah, so 4 minute. I don't think the 5 minute. No, it was 5 minute actually. Okay, well anyways, so we had point being we had an equal low. Equal low, I was waiting for it to get swept before I get some sort of entry plus my SMT. So my SMT was already there. It was already at the low. After I knew that, I was like, okay, ES is holding, NQ is most likely going to hold. If we can see a 1 minute inverse, 2 minute inverse, something like that, I'll get in for a long, right? We ended up not having a higher time frame than 3 minute, so it was just 2 minute. Now I trade PB strategy, so it's not really optional. I mean, it is, but it's more risky. I got in off this 1 minute because the 2 minute wasn't really, like, the candle just closed the previous one and it didn't inverse it, right? We were barely edging the top of it. So my idea was, okay, if I get in off the next candle, it's probably going to skyrocket up like it did, right? And I don't want my entry to be up here, because then this is where my initial stop loss would have, my initial break even would have been. I would have set my break even once we broke above that, right? So what I ended up doing was I ended up getting it off the 1 minute to get a little bit of a better entry instead of getting in up here, right? It would have put me in up here, which now that I think of it, it would have been like a 4 point difference. It's not really that bad, but anyways, I ended up setting my break even now because we broke above that high. I had to set my break even up here. So my break even was set up there, and then now once that broke, break even was hit, right? And then we just had to move another, like, what, 8 points for full TP. So yeah, that was the trade that passed 2 accounts today. I'll show you guys the certificates right now, and yeah, payout would be really nice for January. I'm not going to trade these accounts until January. I'm probably going to buy another eval past that within maybe 2 days. Yeah, let's show you guys these certificates. So we have 2 certificates right here, and they're both from today. So yeah, as you guys can see, the 30th, yeah. So those are not the payouts. Those are the evals from today that are passed. I have to activate one of them. The other one isn't activated, but yeah. So far, we're doing pretty good for the start of December, or for the end of December. January is going to be a really good month for me. Usually January is my best month. From last year as well, it was one of my best months. That's where I got, it was, I believe, 2 payouts last January. So hopefully this year we can hit like a maybe 10K month in January, maybe 15K. We'll see. But it really just depends on how well I perform, how the market volatility is, and yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching. And here's my, I guess, trade breakdown for today, trade recap, what trades I took. Anyways, have a good night, guys.